So how's Kamar feeling?
Good. We got a lot of guys that are, especially at the running back position, practicing the non-contact jerseys, just trying to keep the blows off of them. But optimistic those guys will be able to give it a go on Saturday. So hopefully we'll get a lot of guys back that we haven't had the last week or so.
Jordan Curley got a new jersey today, it looks like.
Yeah.
Was there any thought to just keep him in red just for?
Well, that had been the plan, and it wasn't working great. So we said we're going to change the plan. So, no, he's good. He's cleared. He's back. It's good to have him back. And then, like I said, most of the guys, if they're in red and practicing, we're anticipating them at least being able to give it a go. And like I said, I know offensively getting a lot of guys back, like Tanner, Curley, and those guys. And hopefully running back will help.
I guess just is there an update on kind of an official status for Preston?
Yeah, so Preston, he actually had surgery on Monday, and it was successful. It wasn't a major deal. He's going to be out the remainder of this season, but the long-term prognosis is very good. He should be 100% ready to roll by January when we come back to school and getting ready for the offseason. So unfortunate, we hate it for him, but like I said, considering what it was, it shouldn't be anything long-term that's an issue.
When Jalen Thomas decided to come back, obviously the chance to build more resume for the pros was part of it, but now he's started 5 different positions. I guess, is that something you guys envisioned a little bit when he came back as a possibility?
Yeah, I mean, as a possibility, yes. So when Jalen decided to come back, he played a lot of tackle here. And knowing that at the next level, his best position is probably inside guard or center, we said, look, we're going to play inside as long as we can. If we have some injuries, obviously, he can go out and play tackle, and he's really good at it. But also we'll develop you as our backup center potentially too, because at the NFL, you carry 7-8 linemen. Unless you're that left tackle, you've got to be able to play them all. And so I think what he's been able to do the last 4 or 5 weeks, first of all, he's played really good. But I think it's been huge for him showing that versatility. He played the first 3 or 4 games of the year at guard, shows he's a pretty good guard. But then to be able to play a game at left tackle, then play a game at right tackle, and the very next week play a game at center, and now go back to tackle, that only adds value to, I think, what he can provide a team. And so he's playing really good, but he's handled all that very well too.
You guys have been red hot in the red zone. Has there been any?
Have we? Okay. I guess if you haven't asked me why we aren't scoring, maybe we've been doing okay.
No. Has there been anything over the last 2 weeks? It's been 28 points and 31 points in the red zone, and a ton of touchdowns.
We've been better. Obviously we've been able to run it in, which is always good in the red zone. Anybody who can run it in usually is better, and if not, it's tougher. I think the couple games we struggled, it was drop balls, missed throws, more self-inflicted things. But, also as the year goes on, we've kind of figured out who we are, and we're going to have to continue to do that. That's usually the name of the game, and scoring touchdowns versus field goals usually determines the outcome. So.
For a guy like Tanner, a quarterback that really doesn't get any rest, was playing through some stuff already before the concussion, does a week like that, especially when you go out and win, you throw it back up in third string. Is that maybe a blessing in disguise for him to reset a little bit?
I think so. I don't think he enjoyed not playing, but I do think it gave him a week, playing, he was pretty beat up, to just kind of rest. When you don't normally get that at all in a season, when you do get, it's only a week, but the way your body feels is night and day. And even then, he didn't throw either, so his arm just, so I think he feels pretty refreshed.
This might be a stretch, but I feel like defense, a lot of it is swagger and confidence, and I think Brandon Crossley kind of personifies that a little bit. Yeah. What do you kind of make of just the swagger that it seems like he's bringing a lot of swagger.
Yeah, I want Brandon to talk less and then teach our other guys how to have some swagger. So there's somewhere in between there, right? No, you said it right. Defense is a lot about confidence. And, I think the way our guys have played at times over the last 3 weeks, they're gaining confidence. And obviously, B-Cross, he's very demonstrative when he makes a play or something goes right. So, but energy, guys feed off that, and that's a good thing. They need to celebrate when they're doing things right.
Yeah, on that note, you kind of want to let him be himself, though, a little bit too. But be safe about it. But
let him be himself as long as he doesn't get a penalty, and as long as he can line up and do his job the next play. So certain guys can do that, right, and certain guys can't. But I figured he's going to do what he's going to do. So,
With Houston coming in, obviously they're leaving, but that's been a in-state conference rival for a long time. Night game, just how big of a game is this? I know it's the next one, so it's the biggest one, but there's some extra to it.
Oh yeah, no, Houston, SMU, Dallas, Houston, that's always a big deal. It's at least every year I was here, it was a big deal, especially over the last 5 or 6 years. It's been really competitive. They got a really good team. I think I saw they had like 16 guys on the preseason all-conference list. I mean, they're playing really well too. Ever since that Memphis comeback, they've been playing well. I mean, Clayton Toon, Dell, those guys on offense, defense. You know, this is as good of a front as we played. I don't know. I mean, Maryland, UCF were pretty good, but these guys can really get after the passer. And it's a night game here. You know, who wouldn't want to get excited for that? It's a big game always, and we want to play them as long as they want to. So they know where we are. We'll play them every year if they'd like to.
Is that something that moving forward with, a team like North Texas moving into league play, because it's two privates, TCU, SMU, we don't know what the status of the series. Is that something that you have discussions with about Rick, about scheduling and maybe some of the regional games that people like?
I think so. I know from Rick and our administration, I think we're all in alignment. We'd love to play them. It makes sense. Just like we play TCU, like those games make sense. I don't know how much. I don't know that how much of it is. If they're going into a new league and our league's changing, schedules are done so far out in advance. It may take 5 or 6 years to get aligned up. So, but I know we're open to it, and hopefully they are too.
Obviously, quick turnaround. This is in the a little future question. But quick turnaround between South Florida and Tulane over there. Have you guys thought about potentially, maybe, I don't know with college, I know in the NFL they do it, like staying over there? Or
no, I don't think so. I mean, it makes sense. Things the league does try to do to take care of you, since we're on the road and we got a short week. We're playing a noon game against South Florida, so we don't get back at like 4 a.m. So the reason you would stay there, if it's a long East Coast, West Coast swing, it's not that big of a – as a matter of fact, we're playing Tulane, I think, in Central Time Zone. So we'll come back, but we do have a short turnaround. But the fact that we'll get back at 8, 9, 10, whatever it is that night, I think makes it probably where we don't have to – if we were playing at 6 or 7 p.m., then you'd get pretty worried about it.
We talked about finishing strong, and obviously the Tulsa game was a big check mark. How do you kind of manage ramping up each game, obviously the health issues and everything, to kind of make that final push?
I think our guys have bought in. We won 2 of the last 3. We played Cincinnati well. To your point, we have been beat up. The injuries, it's not quite comical, but we've had a bunch. It seems like every week. I think our first practice yesterday, there wasn't a single running back not in the non-contact jersey, So, but our guys have handled it well. And I think the Tulsa game is an example of how they've handled it. Not only were we beat up, especially on offense going into that game, but then in the game with Kamar going down, then Preston going down. We lost Jaden Jones and Roderick Roberson. And, guys just keep playing. Next guy steps up, makes a play. And, we're not the only one in that boat this time of year. Fortunately, I do think we're getting some guys back this week. But, we want to finish well, to your point. I think we're playing with some good momentum. And, we want to go beat a really good football team, and we get that opportunity Saturday night.
With Kevin, getting that experience on Saturday, and you kind of try to project and look at your quarterback room long term, does a showing that he had affect how you look at the quarterback room long term in terms of, okay, do you add another piece? I know you got a 23 committed, but or maybe how you approach it in the offseason? It
definitely gives you confidence that we're in a good position. Obviously I think Preston was playing excellent. Everybody saw that before he got hurt. And then I think we already felt pretty good about Kevin, but to see him go out and handle that moment the way he did gives you a lot of confidence. And we feel good about the guys committed. So I have learned this, over the years, that just when I feel like I've got a really good QB room with 2 or 3 guys I really like, that's usually, so you try not to get too comfortable just because injuries happen, right? Or, the age we're in with the portal. But I like the guys we have. I like Preston. I like Kevin. I think they're the right kind of guys, and I like the guys we're bringing in. So we feel like we're on the right track there for sure.
And one more.
You've coached a lot of good receivers. Is this the most, a lot of scouts have come by. Does this feel like there's a lot of scouts for Rasheed?
Yeah, it does, and I think rightfully so. I think some of the things that don't maybe get noticed is he's only been healthy for 3 games. He got hurt into the beginning of the second quarter against TCU. That was our 4th game. So, and he's had 2 or 3 games where the stats dwindled because he was pushing through that. But, to do what he's done, in more than half the games he's not even been 100%, and doesn't have the same explosion at times, although he looked pretty good Saturday. I think it's impressive. I've had receivers that put up big numbers or do this. We saw what James Prochet did at 19, but James had Reggie for most of the year, and he had Kylan, and we had X in the run game. With all the injuries we've had to Curley and Moochie and Bailey and Bo, and at the running back position and even at QB, I don't know. He's been the one consistent thing that rarely do you see a receiver kind of carry an offense like he's done. Statistically the targets are high, but we do have like 9 other guys that are in double-digit catches and 200 yards. Like, it's spread out pretty evenly after that. But like, if he's not, I don't know, if he finishes well and he's not one of the 3 for the Blitnikoff, then I don't know why we have the award. Like, I just don't understand. Like, not only has he put up the numbers against good people, but just the way he's done it and through injury to me has been impressive. So I know why the scouts are coming by, and I'm proud of him.